All right, popping back in for another episode. Y'all know who it is, Professor Nims. Sign on with Boston Jared,
What up? What up?
Coach Dave.
Know it, you know it.
We are Sands the Casual Ran. We make up the pundits of pugilism. And we are going to wrap up our session tonight. This is our kind of reintroduction to the boxing community, which has been a little bit in kind of hibernation. But we're going to talk about a tentative kind of negotiation agreement. It's not particularly an agreement between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. So there's a lot of things to kind of um, discuss about this fight, particularly at what weight that this fight will be kind of fought at, what will where it's going to be at. I think we pretty much know who's going to be on the A side. And is this what the boxing community needs at this point? So let's be clear. Canelo Alvarez has fought as high and has won, I think, legitimately a belt, a piece of a championship at light heavyweight, which is 175 pounds. Uh, Lately, he's been campaigning at super middleweight, which is 168 pounds. Terence Crawford, in his last fight, fought at super welterweight, which is 154 pounds, which is kind of a 14-pound different, at least two. So there's super welterweight, then there's middleweight, and then you have super middleweight. Terence Crawford, I thought was able to win his last bout. I don't know if I would say comfortably, but like I don't think there was much controversy in that. But I saw a bit of reticence in the way that this guy is a killer, and he's like once he figures out an opponent or whatnot, he walks them down and takes them out. He was not able to do that with his last opponent, who was a skilled fighter, whatnot. He was not somebody who was going to go down as all-time great like a Canelo Alvarez. I don't think there's any way that Canelo Alvarez is going to fight at middleweight in there. So is this a fight or is this a farce? And is this something that the boxing public should be excited about? So we'll start with Coach Dave and then we'll go to Boston Jared.
Yeah, man. Listen, I think the boxing community should be excited about it, but kind of to your point, man, I think that we should be a little apprehensive in it. And to be honest with you, man, we should wait till it's a solid done deal. And I think what's key to your point, brother, is what is this weight going to be? You hit it on the head, man, about, yeah, I think Terrence, won that fight. But that apprehensiveness that you talked about, man, I thought like towards the end of the round, Terrence started getting a little bit more busy, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But make no mistake about it, and let me be crystal clear, man. I'm praying they just find a nice way. I don't, man, I hope Terrence ain't got to go up to 168, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To fight this guy. And I understand, Canelo trying to come down to 160. I just don't know, man. But that makes a big difference.
So what you thinking? Like a 163 pounds? Canelo comes
In
down around 8.
162, 163, because if you fight right at 168, it just gives Canelo more time to be at a higher walk around weight to come down. You know what I'm saying? He's still bulk back up. But if I just hope they can drop at least anywhere from 4 to 5 pounds from that 168, bro. You know what I'm saying? How it's gonna go, man? I think with the apprehensiveness that Terrence had, I think we might see a little bit of that, because that kid Terrence fought don't hit nowhere as hard as as Canelo hits, man. You know what I'm saying?
Canelo can
And
dunk. He can dunk.
you saw Charlo, get in that mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, God,
Yeah.
dog. You know,
Once they feel that
so,
power, yeah.
right. But I think where Charlo was more so trying to survive and escape the power. That's what his movements. Why he kept backing up to the ropes. I mean, you in escape and survive mode. I think Crawford's movement would be more strategic and let me box this guy. So, I love Crawford, but Canelo cannot solidly walk folks down. That's just been an ongoing,
Yeah.
you know, Achilles heel in his fight game. And a cat that can move and punch and stay out the way can frustrate Canelo. You know what I'm saying? And if you get lucky and catch him right, we know anybody can get knocked out. But I think if Terence is smart with his movement, but yet still aggressive with those attacks, man, I think he can outpoint and be just like flies around Dookie, in the same way that Mayweather was on this guy, man. He just can't fight no moving fighter that's throwing some punches, man, and tricky with it. And that's
That's a
Terrence's strength,
blueprint,
man.
right? So that's a bluept, right? He's gonna be
Yeah.
looking at that
So
fight.
he right there, and I think Terence Crawford's I should tell y'all he's a mean joker.
He is. Which
Canelo,
that kind of surprised me in the last
yeah,
fight. He was like, he wasn't that mean.
he he, he mean, bro, and he
Madrimov can fight, man. That guy Madrimov can fight. I think
He can fight.
I was the one that said that. People kept on saying he's going to stop. I said, yo, and people scoff at this shit sometimes. Madrimov has got like 300 amateur fights, man. Over there in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, that's not a game, man. It's not a game over there, that amateur circuit over there. That's the guy has got a ton of experience, man. He's got more rounds boxed than most professional boxers have, man.
It
I
is,
know
but
people, those are amateurs, pros are pros. If that's your opinion, cool. I'm not going to argue with you. But guys who fight at high levels, like this guy Madrimov was fighting at 350 amateur fights with like 12 losses or some shit like that, whatever it is. A guy with serious business. He's gonna
no,
beat the
he knows how to
shit
handle
out of
himself. But
Ortiz, by the
uh,
way.
yeah, but
He's gonna stop Virgil Ortiz. He's Madrimov is gonna beat the shit out of Virgil Ortiz here in about 4 weeks' time.
yeah, I mean, we don't want to get off of there, but like, were you in the fact that Terrence didn't like his power didn't seem to trouble Madrimov at
Of
all?
course not. Madrimov is a much bigger guy than him. You see how bad guy's a bigger Terence guy that fought at 135,
I
man.
know.
And that's
So
why
think about
I was never
Canelo
big on his.
Alvarez, who's fought at 175. He's never been dropped. He's never been dropped at all. He's fought Triple G. He's fought Kovalev. He's fought all these other guys. He's never been dropped.
But he has been outboxed.
He
Like
has
you don't you ain't you don't have to drop somebody to beat him. He
You're
has
right
been
about that.
outboxed.
But like by bigger guys who had longer arms. So I thought that
I mean, Billy Joe was about the same size as him. I mean, he caught Billy Joe in that fight, but Billy
well,
Joe
Billy Joe
was.
is a big guy compared to Canelo. Canelo is 5'8" at the most.
I'm talking about just body composition and all that. I don't think that Billy
No, I'm
Joe
talking
was
about what
much bigger.
what I'm talking about in boxing is you think about their arm length. I mean, Terence Crawford has some long arms, which has always been one of his advantages.
He's got real long arms.
He
Yeah,
has
yeah.
he has real long arms and stuff like that. But Billy Joe had enough power to at least kind of trouble him and like
I don't. I disagree. I don't think it
it
was the power. I don't think it was Billy Joe's power. It's what Coach Dave was Billy
was the
Joe's
movement.
movement and his awkwardness. Same with Plant, Lara, Mayweather. To be clear, Crawford is not really any of those guys. People like to compare him to Floyd all the time. He ain't Floyd. And we've
He's
talked
a
about
killer.
this before on this show. Terrence Crawford's lack of defensive versatility is what's going to end up being his undoing in this fight. Whenever you're talking about jumping up these weight classes, first of all, history is not on Terrence Crawford's side. Usually, when guys make these big weight jumps, guys go in there and they get smoked. You look at Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence, um, Jamil Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez, Rigo versus Loma. Uh, all throughout history, it very, very rarely, if ever, works out for the guy who's moving up in weight. So that's one. Two, again, Crawford doesn't really have the ability to make guys miss. That's not his strong suit. Is defensively, he likes to catch, parry, he likes to
You
block
got
a
to catch the
lot.
shit.
When
But
you fighting a
but
guy
he's a
like that
master
with
of
this kind of
distance.
explosive power,
Yeah.
you can't be sitting in there catching those shots, man. You've got to make Canelo miss. And that's just not what Crawford does. So the weight, getting back to the weight, I think the weight that this fight ends up being fought at is going to determine whether or not Terence Crawford gets stopped halfway through the fight or if Terence Crawford gets stopped late in
Wow.
this fight. Because
Wow.
if again, Terence Crawford, not only is he a shrewd boxer, but he's a very, very shrewd businessman and negotiator, right? So don't be surprised if you see Canelo have to come down and weight. Do not be surprised if this fight is fought
Come
at
on.
164 pounds.
Oh,
And
maybe,
also,
but
don't forget that Turki is very, very much a Crawford guy. Turki is Crawford's guy, right? Crawford, they're bringing Canelo into the fold. Canelo was very, very much on the outside looking in for a while, kind of balking at Turki the same way that Tank Davis has. Do not be surprised if you see Canelo have to make a serious concession as far as what weight this
what?
fight is fought at. Go ahead, Ken. You gonna ask
No, I'm
something?
saying, Coach, like, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, to me, and I said it earlier, easily the A side is Canelo Alvarez, somebody who doesn't need this fight, doesn't even want this fight. Bud Crawford. So why would I? It's different when he was fighting Floyd Mayweather when he had to
Who else
give
is he
up
gonna
those
fight?
concessions.
Who else is
Well,
he gonna fight? There's a lot of
so,
pressure on him.
yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Coach. Dan. Go ahead,
yeah.
Dan.
So I will go back to this right here, man. Canelo, and the reason why I'm agreeing with Jared on this, my take on it is, hey, listen, man, we got a cat that literally is fighting for both loot and legacy right now. And say what you want to say, I personally think Canelo's record is legit, man. You know what I'm saying? Even though we can sit here and say he dodged whoever and and all this stuff. But he got a chance now to seriously fight for loot and legacy. And the boatload of money that's coming at this guy.
Yeah.
And the recognition, because it ain't gonna be no man. Terence Crawford came up. No, it's gonna be Canelo whooped Terence Crawford. But if that so it's just one fight that might be a little bit to Canelo's advantage because of that incredible thing that Boston just said about history not being on his side. So it's something I feel like Canelo is really, really, for whatever reason, is just trying to grab his. I don't know what he was looking at when he was looking at the films of Crawford to make him say, okay, here we go. So it might have been a mixture of both. But dude, I would not be surprised if it's not just as Boston said and he comes down, because this is an opportunity to me, and I look at it, that Canelo has a chance, although his record is cemented in terms of opponent selection. That's not cemented. He can't say like Marvin Hagler, I ain't duck nobody, I ain't run for nobody. He can't say like, you know what I'm saying? He can't say like them old school heavyweights. He can't say that. So that's what I mean by loot and legacy. But if he beat Crawford, cement this dude, let him go on off into the pastures, crown whatever he's crowned. If he beats him, that's why.
There's a lot of pressure on Canelo to take this fight. One of the reasons that he kind of got
Oh,
his
definitely.
arm twisted into taking this fight is because the alternatives were just so unappealing to the networks, the guys that write the checks. Nobody cared about the Willie School fight. Not even the hardest of hardcore boxing fans cared about a Willie School fight. He's going to get offered a ton of money, probably somewhere, probably well into the. I bet you he's getting $100 million to fight this fight.
$100 million.
I'd be willing to bet he's getting $100 million for that. That's not from any
Yeah.
inside. I asked, by the way, and I didn't get an answer. But I would
I was
not
gonna
be
say
surprised if he gets
50,
$100 million for this
between
fight.
50 and 75. I would be comfortable stating that.
I'm telling you right now, he's going to get $100 million.
He gonna
Well,
get
at least in the 90s, and for that amount of money, I bet you he comes down to 164 pounds. Not to mention, I've always been of the opinion that Canelo is an undersized 168 pounder. I mean, this is a guy that started his career at 154 pounds. He's 5'7" and a half.
No, no, let's correct that. He started his career at 140 pounds.
Okay, sorry. Okay, no, you're
Yeah.
right. You're
He
right.
fought, he
You're
fought
right.
his
You're absolutely
the
right. I
first time
stand
that he
corrected.
fought on television was against Miguel Cotto's brother, which
That's
was
right. You're
yeah,
right. So I
140
stand
pounds.
corrected at 140 pounds. And while he's been fighting at 168 pounds for a while now, I know he likes to rehydrate. I think he's hit the optimal weight for Canelo Alvarez is 160 pounds. I think that him coming down to 164 actually might work in his favor. I think he'll be a little bit sharper. I think he'll be a little snappier. I think you might see a little bit more output because right now at 168 and definitely at 175 pounds, this guy throws 7 or 8 punches around. Like he just
I mean,
the
that's a
output.
bit
I'm,
of
I'm
a
exaggerating, but
catch.
his output is very, very, very low at those weights, and it's because he's packed on. He's a very stocky guy. He's got all that
He's stocky.
muscle on, and he's
He's
probably
very.
is not he's not chemically assisted anymore like he was at previous
Oh,
weights.
allegedly, we want to.
Allegedly. So, and that's probably part of it too.
We
So
want to
I
say that
look, I
allegedly.
don't be surprised if the fight either way, Crawford is getting punched out of the ring like a fucking Dragon Ball Z character. He'll do well, just same way Amir Khan did well until he gets caught to the body probably, and he gets stopped. He ain't this fight is gonna end in a stoppage.
So wow, so
Man,
you
I hope let's get another bet on that one too, bro.
No, I ain't willing to. I ain't betting on that. I told you there are 2 fights in recent
Yeah,
history I've been willing to bet on: Crawford, Spence, and the other one was Morrell Benavidez. Those are the two. Those are the 2 fights. You already got my one bet. I ain't betting on this one.
so just a little
I
bit.
dislike Canelo still too much to.
look what like with Charlo, man. Why you think he gonna? I mean, I don't see him stopping Crawford, bro.
I mean, Dave, the guy was fought as a lot. He's coming up from 135 pounds. He's just giving us just too much size. I mean, weight classes. I
I'm
know
with
everybody says it. We all us hardcores. We say it till we're blue in the face. Weight classes exist for a reason, man. Going up from 135, even coming up from 154 to the 160s, man. That's a
you.
And
big,
then
a
he's
big
had
jump.
one fight. This is like it's not somebody. He's had one fight at 154.
One fight at 154, man. One
Hey,
fight at 154. He's not big enough and he don't have a defense. He's not Floyd. He's not Pernell Whitaker. He's not even prime Rigo. Those guys were master defensive fighters. And the reason those guys were able to be successful fighting larger guys, again, I've said this 90 times, was because they could make guys miss. And that is not part of Crawford's repertoire.
Yeah, I could see Canelo breaking a rib or two. Or not. This is because one thing I want to give Crawford is super strong. That's what people
bro,
don't like. They kind of look at his wiry frame. That guy
yeah.
is super strong, but so is Canelo. And Canelo has banged with and knocked out light heavyweights. And I just think that once he kind of gets in there, I could see a catch weight. I wouldn't agree. Like for some reason, 163 is kind of on my mind. I think that Canelo will come in there, won't look drawn, still be cut, still have this kind of like very stout kind of build in there. I just have a little bit of hesitation with Crawford in that he does he's somebody that like with Floyd and even with Rigo and Pernell as they're like they didn't mind sacrificing a little bit of their offense to make sure that their defense was a priority or whatnot. So it wasn't like hit and not get hit. It was not get hit and then hit for them.
Especially at the end of their careers when they were fighting guys who were naturally much, much bigger than they were. The other thing I wanted to hear from Dave on this, Dave, how much movement do you think Crawford can do if he comes in there at 160 pounds, 158 pounds, 159 pounds? How much movement do you think he can actually pull off if he comes in there weighing heavier than he's ever weighed in his professional career?
I think he can pull off a whole lot of movement, man. This guy's a professional boxer, and he's in shape, man. The fitness is never no issue, and I think his
Never.
jab, and I think his range is long enough to where if he is popping that jab and standing on the outside, that he has time to move and catch different angles, man. And Crawford punches awkwardly, bruh. Southpaw, orthodox. I think this this thing might be a little bit more complex for Canelo than you giving my man Crawford credit for, bro. Now I'm with you on if he gets caught, bro, he gets caught with a real, bro. I mean, it's like
people will jump out of their seats, but at the same time, we've seen Crawford get caught by lesser opponents or whatnot. Who's that guy that dropped him and didn't get
Velasquez.
hey, well,
Velasquez? Like he dropped Crawford.
I'm not saying, bro, that Canelo's not stronger, can't knock him out. I'm just saying boxing IQ, that boxing attitude and the meanness and the strength of Crawford is enough to get him through this fight without him getting straight drugged and knocked out the way that Jared is saying. And I'm also saying that his movement is an ability to stay on the outside and move, I think is more to his advantage than Canelo's piss poor ability to walk someone down. I don't think the Plant is in better shape, to be honest with you, than what Crawford is at. I think Canelo gonna have to really, really find this guy, man.
Definitely.
But Plant's go ahead, Cam. I'm sorry.
Well, I just want to point out a couple of things. So I will acknowledge that Canelo's biggest flaw has been his feet.
Yeah.
He's got fast hands. He's got concrete for feet. And he doesn't cut off the ring well at all. But I want to throw in a couple of things. So Crawford is going to have the height advantage, the reach advantage. But Crawford is 37. Canelo is 34.
Yeah, Crawford's a pretty well-preserved 37, though. He's not very active, right? The guy fights once every 18 months, and he's done that for the past several years. And the guy lives in the gym, man. So I don't think the age really believe it or not, I think Crawford is a better preserved 37 than Canelo is at 34. I mean,
Yeah,
Canelo's been on the record now. Canelo's had knee problems.
and he's been fighting since he was 16 years old.
A
He
lot
had
of rounds
almost,
boxed.
I think he has maybe even about doubled. I wouldn't say, but he's close to like double the fights of. I'll pull that up real quick.
A lot of rounds boxed for Canelo.
One quick thing I want to put out because Coach, and this is just for our boxing historians. So one of the things that Coach put in there, which a lot of people will recognize, is what Canelo, who is the star, the kind of A side, he like saw something and was like, okay, I'll do that fight, right? And so that harkens back to Sugar Ray Leonard.
Don't say my man.
When he saw Marvin Hagler fighting Mugabe and stuff like that, he saw that fight and was just like, he took off his headset and was like, I can beat that guy.
He fucking lost that fight, okay, for one. He ducked Hagler for years and waited for Hagler to slow down. I think that's not what's going on here. I understand what you're getting
You don't
at,
think
Cam.
so?
No, man, I think that Canelo's stuck between a rock and a hard place, man. He can't fight Willie School. He can't fight. He already fight Bill Longo. The tree has been picked of all the cherries. There's no cherries left to pick. School quietly is a much more dangerous fight. School is not an easy fight. That ain't an easy fight. One and two, it's not a fight that anybody's interested in. So
exactly.
It's money.
Nobody
It's money. I don't know that Crawford. I don't know that Canelo saw anything. It's just they're throwing a ton of money at this guy.
You don't think so?
The other options are just not palatable.
At 154,
So Benavidez is not palatable.
Benavidez is a 175-pound fighter, and if you wanted to fight Benavidez, he'd have already fought him. Benavidez is a 175-pound fighter.
But that is a superstar fight. He would.
Oh, God, guys, that ship has sailed, man. That ship has sailed.
Canelo doesn't have any avenues. I mean, I'm kind of with Coach. I think that he saw Crawford at 154 pounds, have some, he just didn't. Crawford is a mean fighter or whatnot. Like I didn't
Yeah.
like when did that come out in that Madrimov fight?
It didn't because Madrimov is attack
Maybe
one. Go ahead, Dave.
it maybe came out, and what I mean by coming out is when can you tell the individual has stepped up the pressure to throw punches with murderous intent?
Exactly.
Doesn't mean that he's just going
Exactly.
crazy.
No.
And I'm telling you, those last 2 rounds, Crawford was kind of like, okay, I kind of figured this guy out. Maybe I don't have to be as scared or timid, by his power. So Cam is right that whole fight. But bro, Benavidez, even Morrell, the up and coming guy, and you can't say nothing about this guy's at 175. This guy, because he's in here talking about Crawford coming up and weight. If people want to fight, bro, they can make it fight and make it happen, dog. Catch weight or whatever. So I don't think that gravy train has left, which goes back to my point about the cats that he has ducked. I think he might have seen something. He might be between a rock and a hard place, but at the same time, this cat is fighting for loot and legacy, bro. So it can be a holistic approach and not just one thing, brother. You know what I'm saying? And which is I think is making this fight. Money talks. Your boy Turkey Alice Shake already. So why he's taking this fight, rock and hard place or not, it's them dead presidents that's going in his pocket.
That's right. That's where I'm at.
I don't think the gravy train has
No.
left in terms of fights that he could have had, bro, because any of it would have made the show. A Morrell that's coming up that's given a chance, a Benavidez who you've been beefing with all the time. Anything involving Canelo, that cash cow can sell. This right here, bro, you fighting Terence Crawford. Doesn't matter whether he first fought at 130 or 140. He's coming. This Terence Crawford. You know this sucker is just mean, and you know he's strong. And this cat gonna submit this guy's legacy. If he be, and Lord knows if he knock him out, nobody been out ever talk about Canelo.
He knock out.
You said if Canelo knocks out Crawford, that will cement his legacy, huh?
No, and just the fight itself, bro. You ain't hearing me. Just the fight. To be clear, just the fight himself, because of who we know he's ducked. If he fights a Terence Crawford, a solid, capable, strong, mean fighter, it's gonna shut down a lot of the stuff in terms of who he ducked. That's just my take on it. I mean, people agree with it or not. So, and if he does knock him out, then yeah, I think it just nails down. It crucifies a little bit yo overly selective opponents that you've chosen. You know what I'm saying? Like all fights,
which is being more like in the kind of latter of his career. Because I had to give him credit. He used to take on that. But if he knocks out Terence Crawford, the number 1 pound for pound guy, I don't care what happens. They're gonna have parades in
So Crawford's. I don't even know if Crawford's number 1 pound for pound right now. But okay.
I mean, Usyk has a claim to it, but Canelo
Usyk is the best fighter in the world.
He is, but at the same time, you knock out Terence Crawford.
I ain't trying.
They're gonna have parades and like Mexico. I promise you that.
It'd have been a much bigger deal. Him knocking out Benavidez would have been more significant than him knocking out Crawford.
We know,
and Benavidez has got no accolades. Benavidez don't have any of the accolades that Crawford has.
Hey,
Crawford.
Look, I'll agree. I'll agree with that. You know, naturally his size and then his weight. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna put no Usyk as the number 1 whatever when he lost and got stopped. By Dubois, whether people
so we're gonna have to come back to that. We're gonna have to come back to that.
It was a legal shot, bro. He couldn't get up and make the count. So I ain't,
There's definitely some arguments there.
Usyk got up and he stops. Usyk gets up and stops Dubois, undisputes heavyweight and cruiserweight, man. All right.
Hey, look, if I had enough time to have a 3-minute count, you know.
They're gonna fight again. It looks like they're gonna fight again because Usyk.
It looks like they are. So we'll get to that, and we'll kind of save that. Like we don't want to get off topic, but like, I'm not mad at Coach with that statement. But all right. So with that said, man, we want to We appreciate y'all tuning in for a lively conversation. So we bringing it. We have it from all angles and all perspectives and all that. So, but we're gonna sign off. This is your man, Professor Nim. Sign off for Boston Jared.
Peace.
Your man, Coach Dave.
Oh man, Boston done got my blood pressure.
He got it. Shout out to my man, the Casual Ram. We are the pundits of pugilism. Hey, we're gonna be popping for 2025. Make sure that y'all join in, like and subscribe, and we out, man. Peace.
Peace.